afternoon, Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily. It's me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Monday to get the week going right. It's our very good friend, Michael Wiseman. Michael, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. It's weird. A little different setup going on today, so it's weird.
Michael, I'm sorry.
No.
Your audio crapped out immediately. We were having the tech issues, and so I'm going to have to drop you, Mike. Sorry,
Oh, man.
buddy. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. All right.
No
well, Michael is going to be kicked from the show. Don't want to deliver bad audio here today. We don't know why, but Michael's audio is not working so well. So today, it's just going to be me writing solo here on the Wrestling Inc. Daily, talking to everybody about the news of the day to start the week. Very sorry about that, everybody. But hey, we're going to have a great time. The chat room is open here. Wherever you're at, please jump into the comment section. It is me flying solo here today, so it's me and you. I need you to talk to me in the comments section so we can have a conversation here today. I see a lot of people here already jumping in. A lot of great fans here. We got Bruce Barrett here. What's up, Nick? What's TK's surprise this Wednesday? We'll talk about it here on the show a little bit, right? Headlocked Heel. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday, my Thursday. Hey, good to see you, Headlocked Heel. And then, yeah, we got a lot of great comments here. Will Ostermeyer, LA Knight, baby. Let's talk about it, right? Who wants to talk New Japan versus AEW? Brian Okada, sign me up. Bruce, we'll talk about it here later today. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get to here. Headlock Heel, by the way, saying my audio works. I understand that, but Michael's was crinkly right off the top. So it's just going to be me, and we're going to be talking to everybody out there for the next 20 minutes or so in Wrestling Inc. world, all about the top pro wrestling news from this past weekend. Before we get to it, before we get to the big show here today, I want to send a big we just want to send our best out to Virgil right now. If you listen to the show, we've had Virgil on. We love Virgil. Very funny guy. I don't think enough people really get the Virgil gimmick. I think it's more Andy Kaufman than like some kind of, genuine, like a Charlie Sheen type. I think it's more an act with Virgil these past few years with a lot of the stuff he's been saying and doing that we all laugh at and we enjoy. But Virgil came out over the weekend, I think just maybe before the weekend, said he's battling dementia, and he recently found out he has suffered 2 strokes. And that's awful news from a guy who, again, has been very supportive of me and the show and Wrestling Inc. We've run the interviews here just by themselves over the holidays just because we know you guys enjoy them so much, and they've done very, very well. So if you're thinking about Virgil right now, you want to support Virgil's family, please go right now over to his Twitter, over to his Instagram. There's a link where you could go and you can help to donate to all the medical bills that Virgil started to pile up right now. Once again, sending our absolute best out to Virgil. Thinking of you, of course. Well, today on the show, we're going to be talking all the news for the next 20 minutes or so. That's like I said, if you listen to us in audio form, after the news block, we are going to dive into, or we're going to air the full audio from my conversation with WWE NXT champion Bron Breakker. This happened during WWE WrestleMania 38 Media Row. Me and Bron breaking bread, talking all about NXT, talking about the Steiners going to the Hall of Fame. You're going to hear that full audio later on. And if you are watching us in video form, you want to watch my conversation with Bron Breakker, head over to our YouTube channel and, give it a view, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Once again, we are on the road to 100,000 subscribers over on YouTube, over on Wrestling Inc.'s YouTube channel. Huge milestone for us. We are just on the precipice. We're like 98,000 subscribers right now. So if you would like to subscribe to Wrestling Inc.'s YouTube channel, help us put us over that milestone. And at the end of the show, just like I said earlier, we're going to talk AEW New Japan. We're going to do it in the mailbag. We're going to talk about this much-rumored AEW New Japan Super Show that might be going down in my backyard here of Chicago. We'll find out. But without further ado, let's get to it here. News you can use, news that will leave a bruise. Well, we are going to start off with some big news coming out of the SmackDown tapings. I actually thought SmackDown, pretty fun show this week. I think RK Bro being infused with the Usos, kind of like this back and forth rivalry. SmackDown kind of flowed for me this week. Not really sure what you all thought about it. Again, chat room's open wherever you're at. But LA Knight and Mace, they worked Friday night's WWE SmackDown Dark match and a tryout for a potential new alliance on the main roster. Mace defeated Eric of the Viking Raiders, but only now he wears a suit. He also cut a Mace defeated Eric of the Viking Raiders, and Knight wore a suit and also cut a pre-match promo. Knight also declared that he was launching Knight Model Management, and his first client is Mace, who I believe he called the Face. Mace was wearing a blazer and Air Jordans. He was looking slick. And I don't know about you all out there with LA Knight. I think LA Knight's work has always been very, very good. He's obviously a great talker. I think the size thing has always been the thing held against him because he looks really big. Then you kind of pair it back and you look at him alongside other people. He's never quite matched up, but he's got a great look, great talker. I thought the stuff with Miz and him when Miz came over with Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode over to NXT, I thought that opening segment there with LA Knight getting involved, getting to show he can hang with those guys, I thought that was a really big statement. It seems like it kind of resonated here. Now, as much as I love LA Knight as a wrestler, I think LA Knight really fun to watch in the ring. I don't dislike LA Knight in this managerial role. I mean, he looks like a manager. I mean, MVP right now, he's in that managerial role, and he's getting a lot of TV time. He's helping to get a lot of talent over the next level. And at the same time, when he needs to get physical, he can. He can get in there and do a tag. He can do that big running boot into the corner, which is what we've seen him do recently. So I see LA Knight very much in the same vein right now. I think LA Knight, great in this manager role. I think the chance for him to get in there and have some good singles matches on that main roster is there. I think he looked great. He sounded great. How do I feel about Mace as his protege? I mean, you got to pick somebody not being used, somebody clean up, put a spotlight on. I think that Mace was Brennan Williams, I believe, in the NFL, played for the Houston Texans. So a pedigreed athlete that can go. And never been great on the mic, but that's why you give him an LA Knight. And I see Samantha here saying, isn't this like Robert Stone's brand over on NXT? Yeah, it's a little bit like that. I actually saw the same thing when I saw the role out there. Feels a little Robert Stone brand to me. But, at the same time, different brands. And I don't see Robert Stone and LA Knight being exactly the same because LA Knight's more of a tough, gritty, gruff man's man, in my opinion, right? Goes out there, holds his own, strong talker. Robbie E's more the snivelly chicken shit heel. There's a great character that Jim Varney used to play called Bobby Brookside on a show called Pop Goes the Country Club, hosted by Tom T. Hall, if you want to go back and find that. I'm so impressed with Robert Stone. I think that he reminds me so much of that Jim Varney ilk of just like being able to carry himself through anything, very malleable, kind of rubbery type individual. And, I don't look at him and LA Knight quite the same. I think the idea that they both have high-end, prestigious athletes that they seem to be grooming or trying to present, yeah, okay, that's the same. But you can say the same thing for Malcolm Bivens and the Diamond Mine, right? So I hope they can put a kind of spin on it, make it his own. I think Robert Stone's great. I think LA Knight's great. I think they both be great in this manager role. And Bruce Barrett here saying Mace needed a serious change anyway. I'll give it a chance. I agree with Bruce there. Well, also here, looking at the WWE news outside of LA Knight and this whatever stable he seems to be putting together during a broadcast for the USFL over the weekend, there was a commercial promoting Monday Night Raw on USA Network and Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Now, the ad prominently showed the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns on the blue SmackDown side, right? Of course, he represents SmackDown. But who do you think they put over there for Raw? On the Raw side, WWE chose to put newly signed talent Cody Rhodes as the superstar representing the red brand. And I think that's really the biggest statement yet we've seen about how much WWE is going to be willing to invest in Cody beyond the big debut, right? Or how do they view this guy now that he's part of the roster? He keeps saying he wants the title. Do they see him as a main eventer? Do they see him wanting to kind of have to run through the mid card here for a little bit to kind of get his wheels up and running? Do they want to maybe punish him a bit for, I don't know, going out and created the biggest competition they've seen in 30 years? Well, I don't think that they would be putting this kind of emphasis on Cody Rhodes on national television, this huge USFL game. If they didn't see him in the long run as somebody they're going to put him up top. And it's a good sign for Cody. Good sign for Cody fans. A good sign for the company because, Cody's doing things right now. And it's so interesting how quickly your tune can change in this business because towards the ends of Cody's AEW run, I think there's a lot of head scratching. I think the guy had just gone off the rails, had made some bad calls on his own. I think bad creative decisions that were made within the company. some of which he talked about on Out of Character today with Ryan Satin, which we can get to here in just a moment. But he had lost his way over at AEW. Fresh coat of paint, new scenery over at WWE. Cody seems to be making a lot of the right decisions right now, as the company does with him. And, I think it's going to be great. I think that it's great that they're moving forward with him. And I think it's great for the talent, too, because you see the rewards that Cody is reaping right now for betting on himself. Right now, everybody's getting their name changed and all this kind of wonky stuff. But, you get through this. Maybe you get an ounce of TV time, little credibility. Cody's shown you could go out, rebuild yourself, and come back stronger and more viable financially than before. And so I think it sends a good message to the talent. I also think that, the way Cody has been carrying himself, especially with the media, very candid, does not sound like your typical scripted WWE superstar or WWE superstar who is walking on eggs in an interview. And I know it's a special case for Cody right now, but I hope they let more wrestlers do it. I hope more people get to be themselves and present something that they connect with, because I think we're seeing how well that just works. Not that I need to say that, right? We have seven Varvar asking over on YouTube. Did they push Cody to the moon to get other AEW stars to come over to WWE? Maybe. That might be, it's a very good observation. Does this help to lure a Jon Moxley back to the table, or Chris Jericho, right? Now that they see, hey, if you do go back to Vince, he's not going to put polka dots on you and job you out to Dwayne Gill. You're going to have a real chance to go make some money, sell some action figures, get some shirts up and running. So I think there's certainly an element of that, but I also think there's just an element of lightning in a bottle. They obviously realized the benefit of presenting Cody as he was in AEW on WWE TV, how outside the box that kind of looks and how different it looks. Certainly seems to be resonating with their casual and more hardcore audience as well. So, and by the way, before I leap off this and go to Cody's former territory of AEW and talk about some of their news, yeah, I did come up on Out of Character, the interview that Ryan Satin did with Cody Rhodes today. And Ryan was really just mentioning me as the source of the question Cody was asked during Mania weekend, where he was talking about his maturity. But Cody decided to bring up a tweet that I put out in 2019, really critical of Jake Roberts smoking a cigarette at a blackjack table as he dealt cards to these various wrestlers. We were getting ready to think for Double or Nothing at the time. And, my issue with it has always just been that if you're going to do a product that, openly gears itself in some way to children, I'm not saying 100%, but Cody goes out and he gives kids his waist belt, right? He makes a point to reward the children that come to the show. Most kids are not going to go home and hit a pile driver or drive somebody through some thumbtacks because mom won't let them, or they're going to be scared that they'll actually hurt the little brother or sister. But it is so easy to see somebody you think looks cool that's smoking a cigarette and do that on your own. That's a self-inflicted wound. And I don't think that it's anything that, I don't regret tweeting it. I'm surprised I lived rent-free in Cody's head that long over this tweet, but no, I don't regret it. And the way he framed it, like we were just trying to do a casino scene. What kind of casinos has Nick been to? I mean, I would rip Cody's throat out in a game of Texas Hold'em. I grew up in Texas. I spent a lot of time in casinos. Been to the Mystic Star here more times over the Indiana border than I'd like to admit. And I know how to play Texas Hold'em. And I've spent a lot of time in casinos. The only time I can ever remember my blackjack dealer or poker dealer, for that matter, smoking a cigarette is when I was playing underground games on the west side of Chicago, where you had to go to the kitchen and get walked through to the basement underground, and there are no rules down there. So there were cigarette smoking dealers down there. But no, most casinos, Cody, what kind of trash casinos are you going to where the dealers are sitting around smoking cigarettes like that? It just doesn't happen a whole lot anymore. So anyway, my 2 cents. And for what it's worth, Cody said WrestleMania weekend, if they're talking about you, you're getting a reaction, that means they love you. So Cody, love you too, buddy. All right, moving away from all the WWE talk, let's go to AEW. A couple of big shows over the weekend for AEW. First of all, Battle for the Belts 2 went down Saturday night. Sammy Guevara defeated Scorpio Sky to become the new TNT champion. This is Sammy's third reign with the title. He ended up winning the match after a low blow. A lot of shenanigans. Paige Van Zant, Ty Conti getting involved. Congratulations to Sammy Guevara on his 3rd title reign. I like that the heel kind of edge Lita vibe I'm getting from Sammy and Ty Conti right now. Feel bad for Scorpio Sky, just kind of transition here. We never really had a, big successful title defense of his own that he got to kind of laud, but he's racking up his title victories right now. Sammy's got 3. I don't know why they did this. This TNT title belt gets bounced around a lot, and it just seems very unlike Tony, who seems to be wanting to do old school things and like investing in meaningful title reigns. I'd love to know why they've decided the TNT needs to be bounced around like this right now. So, also, we found out that Ring of Honor, this is according to Fightful, Ring of Honor champion and Progress Unified World Champion Jonathan Gresham has signed with AEW. Of course, he took on Dalton Castle at Best Battle of the Belts. There was a report, I believe, coming out of Fightful. I didn't write it down here, but don't quote me for gospel. I'm pretty sure it was Fightful that Jonathan was suffering from a concussion that he got early on in the match from that gut wrench sequence. And you could see that he wasn't moving quite right the rest of the time. There was a GIF going around over the weekend of him and Dalton Castle going in and out of that corner there, throwing those kind of sloppy looking clotheslines and stuff. And you couldn't really hear the crowd. A lot of stuff lost in context. So anyway, update on Jonathan Gresham. I hope he's very well. Very talented wrestler. Then on Rampage, we saw Hangman Adam Page retain over Adam Cole in a Texas death match that controversially featured Hangman Page cramming a barbed wire crown onto Adam Cole's head, driving him to the outside. And of course, this happened on Good Friday ahead of Easter Sunday. Yeah. So I'm not particularly religious. I'm not judgmental of people who are religious. I'm probably one of those hippies that says I'm more into energies, right, than a religion. So this it doesn't hit me, right? Like I'm horribly upset, but I can understand how this is not this is a situation that maybe does put some people off of your product, right? And I think in the kind of grander scheme of things, as you're trying to open up and find new viewers, right? Because a lot of people have seen their viewership is, kind of where it has been for a year. How do you get to that next level, horizon, whatever it may be? Is this more of a vinegar than honey type situation, right? Are you risking running off some people that may not come back, or is there no risk here for you in your mind if you understand your niche? To casuals that see the kind of violence I feel like we've seen in AEW as of late, and kind of an affront to decency, not just like this crown of thorn things, but some of the stuff that, Dan Lambert says and other things like that. And, I get it's all part of the show. It's all part of the show. You just want to play your characters, want to have your heels, want to do your controversial things, get people talking. But I think that cadence, that refrain of so much of it so often might be burning some people out. May not be keeping everybody around. People that don't want to see that kind of stuff, at least on a consistent basis. This wasn't something that happened on a pay-per-view as a blow-off. This happened on a Friday night. It's something to get people talking, and I don't know, maybe they hate God. I'm not sure. But it just it didn't feel necessary to me. I guess that's the thing. And Bruce Barrett here saying, 2022, everyone's offended by everything. Controversy creates cash. Maybe. Does it? I don't know that this particular decision makes cash, but we'll see. Wrestling Observer, they're saying this weekend's episode of Ring of Honor TV was the final one that's going to air on Sinclair Broadcast Group stations. Certainly an indication of where this content may be going. Maybe an indication, maybe not. Maybe this is running out. Maybe there's still a deal to be had on the other side with Sinclair, Tony, and AEW. I know Dave Meltzer certainly went out of his way on Twitter to say that this is proof that Sinclair never had any interest in hanging on to the Ring of Honor content. And I like Dave. I actually am not one of those people that goes out and tries to pick fights with Dave for clout, but he just candidly, I think he's wrong on this. I mean, I talked to people that were in the throes of negotiating some of these attempts to purchase Ring of Honor when it was on sale. And I know that distribution was discussed and potentially keeping those stations attached to Ring of Honor to keep that content going out. Now, whether or not Warner Media or another entity, but I would hanker to say it's probably Warner Media Discovery, came along and said, no, we'll pay you or we'll give you a better deal to retain this content. Don't go back to Sinclair. I don't really know. But I do know that there was interest there in Sinclair, and I think that Dave might be overstepping a little bit. But hey, I pushed Tony Khan on it during the last scrum. I'll see him here in a couple weeks for the next one. We'll play this game again. We can bring it back up. All right, lastly here from the news segment before we get to the mailbag, Dustin Rhodes has challenged CM Punk to a match this Wednesday on Dynamite. It is going down. I'm anticipating a slow, thoughtful, meticulous match between these two men who are two of the best storytellers in pro wrestling right now. I mean, you go back and you look at the work that Dustin and Cody did, and obviously it speaks for itself. Punk has been doing some of the best storytelling in the company right now with AEW. I think it's going to be a really fun match. I think it's a cool thing to throw out there, especially since they seem to just kind of have Punk in like wait and hold mode till they figure out when they want to do, I'm guessing, the match with Paige to maybe do the title change. So just throw Punk fun opponents right now. Have a good time. I'm all for it. I think him and Dustin are going to tear the house down. And Wally Whale saying, have you heard any news on Moxley? I don't know what news there is to hear. He's very much back, and he looks great. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in here today. Very special show. I wanted to do it with Michael Wiseman. I have Michael's name template here up on the screen. But again, we were just cursed with bad audio from Michael, and it happens sometimes. You get a funky wire, you get a bad port, whatever it may be. I don't know what it is. We're going to figure it out for next week for sure, because the week after, I'll announce it right now, I'm going to be taking my first vacation, like I think in like legit, just like a vacation that's not for work or to like do family stuff, and like over, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So I'll be gone here in 2 weeks for a full week. Michael Wiseman's going to be sitting in hosting the show all week long. So though we did not get Michael today, we are going to get Michael a whole lot here in the future. And Toronto 8888 here saying, Nick, Cody owned you. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Didn't feel like an owning situation to me. So this brings us to the mailbag here today. Oh, by the way, thank you to WWE and Braun Breaker. Great conversation. Really enjoyed Media Row this year. Great talking to Braun. That brings us to our mailbag at Wink Daily, WINC Daily over on Twitter. Today's poll question is, what is your dream AEW versus New Japan match? And of course, there's a lot of rumors right now about what Tony's huge announcement could be on Wednesday. A lot of people speculating now based off some stuff that was said on the Super J-Cast, Observer, and beyond, that we could be getting a New Japan Ring of Honor Super Show in Chicago this June. So I ask you, with everything going on right now in those two companies, what is the dream match you have for AEW and New Japan? We have about 200 votes here. 51.4% of those votes go to CM Punk versus Kenta. 20.3% to Samoa Joe versus Ishii. 19.2% to Hangman Page and Okada, and 9% to everybody else, including Danielson, Okada. We got Robinson, Orange Cassidy. Got a bunch of great. We have more Okada, Punk, Moxley, Ospreay too. That came from not Nuke _ but Punk versus Kenta getting the most votes here, which I guess is not a huge surprise considering these two have been building to this match for a long, long time. I see MCASP here in the comment section saying Okada versus Bryan. Well, you know, they're all good. They're all good choices. So we'll see what goes down this summer, everybody. All right. We are going to wrap up this very special solo edition of the Wrestling Inc. Daily today with me. Thank you all again for tuning in. Michael, sorry it didn't work. We will figure this out. You will be back. I wanted you here today, buddy. I promise you that. Come on back tomorrow, though. If you want to catch me, I'll be here joined by Issa, and we're going to have the full audio from Jonathan Gresham's Ring of Honor Supercard Media Scrum. That's going to be on tomorrow's show. Support the Wrestling Inc. Daily on whatever podcast platform you like. Support the Wrestling Inc. or support WrestlingInc.com on all our socials, and come back here tonight after Raw for the Wrestling Inc. podcast. It is live. It is just like this, but they tuck Raw and the news. I am at Nick _ Hausman over on Twitter. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you winked,